Hi everyone, this is Amanda from So Sweet Creations, and today we're going to be doing a clay caning of the ghosts from the Pac-Man video game. You can use this method for any of the colors for the Pac-Man ghosts. I hope you enjoy. Get started. So, first of all, you're going to make sure that you knead all of your clay. This helps during the cooking process so that there's no bubbles in your clay. You're going to start off with your base shape. For me, it was like this little oval type shape, and then I'm going to cut the bottom off. Just like this. Next, I'm going to add the eyes. So I just take a really big needle and I stab through and make a big hole. And I do the same thing on both sides, but you have to make sure that you do the opposite side as well because it doesn't actually go all the way through properly. Now, this is the way that I do it. This is my method. I find it easier this way. There are some tools that you can get that assist you in getting the eyes into those holes, but I do not have those tools. So you're going to see here in a moment how I'm going to do it. But first we're going to start with the black of the eye. Make sure that it's as uniform as you can get it. Now I've used a rolling pin for the flat white. I don't have a clay flattening machine or a pasta machine, so I do it myself. As you can see in a moment here, I do not put the white all the way around because I'm sure that you've noticed that the little Pac-Man's eyes, they look like they're drifting off in different directions, or looking down or looking off to the side. And so in order to make it look that way, I have to make sure that there's an opening. Another thing that you're going to want to do when you're caning is make sure that your added clay goes all the way to the exterior of both sides. Now this is how I add the clay in. As I said before, I don't have a tool that helps me to guide clay in without having it stick to the edges. So I just make a pilot hole and then I slice it until I reach that hole. And then I close it in. Eye number 1. Now you can use any number of tools to push it in to the way that you want it to. There's a lot of tools that come with beginner clay kits. I'm using a Cricut tool here, so you could use a Cricut tool by all means. There's so many different things that you could use to add texture, to add design, to smooth things out. Toothbrush is a great way to add texture. Alright, now let's get to the tentacles. Little tentacles. I know that they're not actually tentacles, but they look very much like tentacles. I'm just gonna call them tentacles. I know a lot of people hate that word, so I've repeated it many times. And again, as you're seeing it, I'm cutting it a little bit larger than the size of my little piece of clay. Smooth in the edges. This helps it to adhere properly and decreases the possibility of bubbles or cracking. You also want to make sure that everything is firmly attached together so that when you're pulling your cane out, it doesn't displace. I've chosen to use black to outline my little character here. So I'm going to be putting black in between all of the little crevices and surrounding the body so that his body is accentuated so that you can see it a lot easier, even if it's inside of other objects or if it's in, say, a shaker cup or a slime pouch, anything else like that. I'm definitely going to be making Pac-Man themed hair bows. Okay, so the thickness of the black stuff that I put on, completely up to your discretion how you want it, thick or thin. The same with anything else that you're going to surround it with or make it with. Just your discretion around the eyeballs, the size of the eyeballs. I could have made them larger, probably should have made them larger because the eyeballs ended up turning out a little bit small, but just a suggestion for anybody who might decide that they want to try making a clay cane just like this one, or similar to. Now this one has a slight marble effect. You can't actually see it with the camera, unfortunately, but there's a little bit of a black marbling effect going on with the white. So on both sides actually, but I could have gotten away with just one side in hindsight. You want to make sure that you cut the connecting lines very, very tightly. You don't want them overlapping, or you're going to have areas that are thicker and thinner than others, which will be very visible in your final product. All right, now that it's made, you gotta softly, gently, slowly start to pull it out. So you're just gonna push on the edges or pinch it in the middle and start pulling it out slowly. And this is probably my favorite part. My favorite part is the surprise. Seeing how your clay cane turns out, because you actually don't know how it's going to turn out until you finish pulling it. Sometimes it's a horrible fail, sometimes it is a wonderful pass, and sometimes you just can't recreate it a second time. Now you want to make sure that you do not twist it. So just keep in mind the shape that it is, how wide and tall you want it to be as you're pulling it out. This helps you to keep the shape proper, because if you accidentally twist it in certain areas, it's going to be upside down, and so it'll be flatter, or it might be too long in other areas. So just keep in mind that you want to, instead of rolling it across your tabletop, which can cause it to twist a bit. So personally, I prefer to pull it just like this. Now let's see what it looks like. Look at this tiny little guy. He's so small. But as you can see, it can be a quick process. It depends on the complication of your cane. Sometimes it takes over an hour to make one cane. Other times it takes just about 15 to 20 minutes. Now, this is going to be frozen for about 45 minutes. And you're going to want to keep your sections frozen while you're cutting other sections. So I would suggest to cut them into smaller portions and then freeze them. There we go. All of our colors and our cute little Game Boys. Can't get enough of these little Game Boys. Probably should have made them a different color though. Supposed to be Pac-Man. Didn't turn out to be Pac-Man. His shape kind of distorted into a square, unfortunately. But whatever, I'm sure that you understand. They're just so cute. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it was helpful for anybody who wants to recreate this design. Please feel free to like and subscribe.